Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
A reading from the Book of Armaments, Chapter 2, verses 9 through 21. And St. Attila raised the hand grenade on high, saying, O Emperor, bless this thy hand grenade, that with it thou mayest blow thine enemies to tiny bits in thy mercy. And the Emperor did grin, and the people did feast upon the lambs and the sloths, and the carp, and the anchovies, and the orangutans, and the
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Stephen Four, and Jason Craze. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yo, what's happening, everybody?
Hey, good to be back.
Yo, Robbie B's intro voice for the webcast versus the podcast is so vastly different. It just shows to Robbie B's actual audio skills that he has. He can do everything.
He can do everything. I would go as far to say he could even make a McRib.
That can make a McRib.
Yeah, like no one can make a McRib.
No. He could make a McRib with less than assholes. Yeah, and butt lips.
Yeah, we talked about pig bung and lips.
You know, they only have two purposes in life. You can use them. You can use them to make pink hot dogs from that gas stations use, and the McRib sandwich. Only two uses.
And at any point during the cooking process that it called for any type of oil, he would just use spray pan.
Did you say pan?
Pam. No, it's olive oil.
Pan. Oh, pan with two ends.
It's what you lubricate your cooking utensils with.
Yeah. I can just see Rob sitting there getting ready to fry something and just spraying these cans into a pan until he gets like a solid inch of buildup.
Mm-hmm. I literally tried to make a vinaigrette in his house. I was like, yo, you got some olive oil and shit? He's like, oh, yeah, dog, it's in the fridge or in the cabinet. I was like, word. I said, dog, are you talking about this pan spray? Like, I can't spray that on these leaves, homie.
He's like,
sure you can.
Yeah, it's like that in vinegar makes a salad dressing, right?
So, funny story. I've been slowly packing up the kitchen because we're going to be moving soon. Hopefully, I hope I'm not packing for no reason. But I discovered next to my oven, there's these cabinets, and I opened them up, and there was like, I think these things are called pans or something, and you use them to cook. And I was like, oh, that's where I left those like 2 years ago when I got here.
In the oven?
Yeah.
No, in the cabinets next to the oven.
Where the pans go.
Yes.
Yeah, but
correct spot.
I almost forgot they were there. I mean, I'm glad I looked because I had
Robbie B. This is how Robbie B feeds himself. It is gluten-free pizzas, the microwave,
Chef Mike,
and don't forget the crock pot.
That's it, yo.
The
crock pot and microwave, and Robbie B is good to go.
Yeah.
I posted a work in progress picture of my refrigerator the other day in Kenny's stream. It was glorious.
Yeah. There was Miller Lite in there, and I was like, who left that Miller Lite there?
Mm-hmm. The safest beer in the county.
I'm pretty sure there was a box of Girl Scout cookies in there. I was like, what is
true story. So I guess this was over a year ago now. I had bought a whole case of Snickers ice cream bars. And pretty much I know that I can I just buy shit at Rob B's house that I want. And I know I can just leave it there because if I eat it, it's bad for me and it will kill Rob, you know? So I'm like, I have no worries that it won't be there the next week when I come back. So I bought this whole case of the ice cream sandwiches, and I was going to bring them home, but I left them. So I was like, it's fine. I'll just eat one every once in a while. And so, I mean, literally 6 months goes by and these things are still in the freezer and I'm having one every once in a while, whatever. I'm like, guys, I'm glad Robbie B doesn't like these. He's like, what do you, and he was like, nah, man, I love Snickers and so I just can't because of glutens. I was like, bro, look at that thing. I'm pretty sure you can eat them. And so he does. He just assumed that he couldn't. Next time I come back like 4 days later, you know, the box is still in the freezer. Yeah, but like all 17 that were still in there, no more.
I made a discovery. I can eat them.
You can eat Snickers ice
Snickers
cream.
ice cream bars.
It's the
So
same.
he did.
So I did. I didn't eat much else those 4 days.
Classic Rob move right there. I think it's a guy move. Leave the box in the refrigerator. Get yelled at by your lady.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to. If I ever have to, I'll have to lady proof this house because it is not lady proof whatsoever.
No, I want you to know, Robbie B. She will have to lady proof the house.
Oh,
that's how that works.
I'm sure there'll be things that need to get lady proof that I didn't even know about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. Like what I do, and I really like this system. This is a tried and true system that I've developed. So when my laundry's done, I pull out the laundry basket and I put it right underneath the dryer, and I pull it all out and I dump it in the basket. And then I go into the bedroom and I put it on my bed. And most people would probably take it out and fold it, fold the socks, fold the undershirts, whatever, the towels. Well, what I like to do is then I think about doing that. And then I just put it on my dresser and I leave it there till it's all used up again.
And then you pull things out of the basket and then you wear them until it's all gone and you repeat the whole process.
Yep.
Or my favorite thing is like people are like, oh man, I hate laundry. I'm like, motherfucker, I love laundry. I do laundry all the time. By laundry, you mean you just put the dirty clothes inside the washing machine and start it. After that is when I start having a problem. I would literally I'd walk into my condo and I'd walk around like, damn, what does that smell like? Oh shit, I hadn't been here in 2 days. Go in the laundry room and my clothes were molded in there because I didn't take them out of the washing machine and put them into the dryer. That was my problem. But luckily that was checklist number 101. Find a lady who loves laundry and loves to keep a clean house. Like
Bonet doesn't let me do the laundry because of all those things.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, baby, I'll help. And I will. She's like, no, I can't trust you not to ruin everything.
This is brutal. It's no big deal. I just can't trust you to ruin.
I was like, no, I literally want to help. She's like, no, it's bad.
You ready for this? So we're obviously we're together and we're folding clothes and stuff. I was like, babe, I'll come in, I'll fold my own clothes. Like, no biggie, or let me just grab this shirt. I was like, oh, this is Bayes. Boom, folded it.
Hold it 1 second. Y'all the best.
Here it is. And then next thing I know, she's like, she still was in that polite phase of not just like, what the fuck, So she's like, oh, okay, that's a great job. And then she thought that would have been enough. And I'm like, oh, I completed something right there. I'm going to go back to watching TV or something. I was like, nah, I'm going to just stand here and keep doing this with you. So finally I look over and everything that I folded, she now is refolding. And now like I'm on like my 6th or 7th shirt. She's like, okay, you can stop now. Please go in the other room. I was like, yes, I would never be asked to do this ever again.
Yes.
It only took
But the funny part is
shirts.
that they think that we do it on purpose so that we don't have to do it. And it's like, no, I just have a more efficient way of folding a shirt than you do.
Yeah.
And she's
showed you.
Yeah. And she's like, no, it makes it wrinkled. The lines are all wrong. I was like, okay, I'll fold my shirts because I don't care about these wrinkles that you speak of. But she's like, I have to be seen with you, and I do care.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, can I tell them the story, Juice, about when we picked you up for a Defticon?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so me and James get to Juice's house early because he was coming back from the food truck and stuff, and I think it's farther away from Juice's house than I live, and I get there. And we go inside and we're talking to his girlfriend or fiance. And she's like, yeah, I already packed all the stuff. And I was like, oh, word, that was super nice of you. I'm sure he'll appreciate it, and we can get on the road quicker. And she's like, well, I just packed him a bunch of shirts and sweatpants. So no girls be looking at him there. And I was like, oh. And I was like, that's so devious. I'm thinking to myself. And I was like, oh, well, you don't have anything to worry about because there's not going to be any girls there. We're going to Defticon.
It's so funny is because they laughed about that, right? And so they're already here, packed the bag. So I walk in and I'm like, all right, you guys ready? I'm sorry I'm behind. Grab a couple things and I go in. I'm like, let me just grab this light jacket. Well, I go in my closet and I'm like, damn, I want to wear this shirt. This shirt's kind of fresh. And I'm like, why don't I have any of my button ups? Like, fun captain style. Like, what is that? And then I was like, babe, you said you packed my bags like you always do. You left a lot of my good shirts up here. Like, what's up? She's like, I did that on purpose. And I just started laughing. I said, I don't even want to know anything else. I know everything you packed is fine. Thank you. I'm taking this shirt. Put it over my shoulder.
But I'm taking this shirt.
This one's coming with me.
I'm taking this one shirt.
I had to feel like I didn't fully back down. You know what I mean? But let me tell you what isn't backing down. That's 8th edition.
So
solid transition.
Yeah, I like that. Super, super good there. So this week, if you are a fan of the Age of Sigmars, this is obviously Tabletop Market Watch. Age of Sigmar's got some really dope releases this week. Whether you're about picking up some new units on the cheaps or getting a smaller version of the game to play if you don't quite have, say 2 to 3 hours to play a normal size game of Age of Sigmar. Well, they've come out with Skirmish Rules, which is a 40-page paperback book for a pretty reasonable $10, I feel like. It has rules for playing the game you already know. If you are playing Age of Sigmar, you already have the rules. You just need 2 of the pages out of this to convert over and see how to play. It's basically Kill Team for Age of Sigmar. So you're using existing rules you already know, and they're just tweaking them a little bit, and they give you some specialized missions. There's also a campaign system in it, which both of these things I feel like is a solid buy for $10. But getting on to the 4, we'll call them box deals, bundle deals, whatever you want to call them, that come out this week. They're all $65, but they all have your basic units plus something that you can use as your general. And they vary in discounts over MSRP if you bought them all separately, from 25% to, I think it was like 52% off with the Orcs one. The Oruks one is a fantastic deal. So check those out if you're looking to get something in to hold you over until 8th edition comes out, or if you're just looking to stock up for your Age of Sigmar stuff. That's probably the way to go. Now, I think you probably know also that 8th edition is coming. We saw the teaser for the new Dark Imperium box set, which looks to be a pretty solid deal at $160 US. That is going to get you the 53 miniatures, the new hardcover rulebook, the 2 little mini codices that come in it, how to play Death Guard, how to play Primaris Space Marines, some dice, a little range ruler kind of thing. And I mean, we could break down the kit, but I'd like to break down the rest of the releases that are coming out. So there's going to be 5 different index books, which are, there's a volume Imperial 1 and 2, a Xenos 1 and 2, and a Chaos book. And those are going to have all the rules for all the existing units that have air quotes models. I don't know what that means, but that's what Games Workshop says. So I would assume that if something has a model and it had rules in 7th, that it would probably be in this book. Question mark. But we'll just go with that and keep moving. There's Death Guard Green paint coming out, a Death Guard Green spray paint coming out, tactical objective cards, Sector Imperialis objectives, which are like really cool looking things, like an operating table, like some sort of deployed kind of, it almost looks like a moisture evaporator kind of type deal. There's little awesome models that are coming in this box set. The command dice, don't know exactly what all that's about, but it looks like something that you just put down, maybe not something you roll.
Rob, aren't the dice like thematic too in the box?
Yeah, they're they have like stylized symbols that we might not exactly, now we don't recognize them, but they might apply to something in game. Don't know yet. We haven't seen enough stuff yet. Wound trackers, 6-pack. I think those are just D10s. We saw those for Age of Sigmar. And the ubiquitous combat gauge, which looks to be just like the left half of the Aquila. So pretty solid lineup of stuff coming out. Now, if you are wondering, hey, when can I get this? When can I pre-order this? So here's the deal. And not a lot of people have talked about this yet online. Stores that are doing the like release launch kit, which comes with some scenarios and things featuring Guilliman. I think it's like Battle of Cantor or something like that. It's going to come with a bunch of swag, but depending on how many copies stores order, they will get stored demo copies of the 8th edition box, as well as the 5 books and the rule book itself, because it's going to come in the box next week.
Wow.
So
that
a lot
was
of stores,
a solid week early.
Some stores may be getting them this weekend. I think the GW stores will have them this weekend so they can get them painted. So you might be able to go get some sneak previews.
Like this weekend, Memorial Day weekend.
Yes,
like
Memorial Day weekend.
May 25th, 26th, that's unreal. That's like 18, 19 days before. We're going to see a lot of shit hit the internet very soon.
Yeah, there will be probably a lot of leaks. Now, I'm not sure you can just walk into a GW or a local game store and just look at the book until next week, until it's authorized for people to see, I believe, starting next week, because I guess their reasoning was, hey, people can see the book, they can know what to pre-order, and then know what to start buying unit-wise, get ready for the launch. So, there was a lot of snickering out there. I don't know if you guys saw, but some stores like our local friend Dean's actually running a tournament on release day. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. There'll be rules out there a week ahead of time. You know what I mean? So
all right, here's Operation Get the Book as fast as possible. Kenny, I need you to make me a name badge.
I did it already.
All right, boom. Jason, do me a favor. Do some research. Tell me the president's name of the company. Find his signature and sign it on the back. I now am going to be the Americanized president. We need to put all our powers together. My badge will allow me to get access to the back room of any random one-off GW one-man stores, so I can steal.
So we're gonna Ocean's 8.
Yes.
I swear I think it's a lot easier. All we got to do is like walk into one of these one-man stores with like a box of Cinnabon and like a 48-ounce Dr. Pepper. Done deal, bro.
But here's the best part. So we do that. He eats it. He gets distracted. We go in the back, get the stuff. Juice is already in there. He shipped himself in a box.
Yes.
Did you poke holes in the box? You have to breathe, Juice.
No, it's a stand-up box. No, like I am not flexible. I don't bend over. It's a 6'4" box that they had to lay flat to get through the door.
This is solid. Nothing bad is going to happen.
So obviously,
I can totally see this working.
No, it's infallible, and we see Kenny and I. We have cased the same store. Jason also has cased the store, and somehow we both set our plans in motion with our McDonald's fast food chain dollar menu watches, and Jason gets the book first.
Go Team Ramrod.
That's because I'm taking Juice to the hospital because of dehydration, because he couldn't get out of the box,
and he couldn't breathe either.
He couldn't breathe. He forgot to poke holes in the box.
Oh my goodness. So there's some dope promo items that folks will be able to get. Stores might be able to get. Speaking of 6'4", a 6-foot stand up on the Primary Space Marine. There's some pop up little tables, little demo tables that stores can get. All sorts of nifty little swag and things like that you'll probably see starting to pop up. And window banners and things and clings and invites to launch parties, specialized from the Emperor and such. So it's looking fresh.
God damn it! How do we get a goddamn invite to a goddamn party?
Gotta have coops, bro. You gotta have coops.
I'm actually mad now. Like we're doing our own launch party.
Okay.
And we're not gonna invite any of them.
Who's them?
The president and his wife, I guess. That's what I assume people mean when they say them.
Yes, that is not an exaggeration. It is the president and it is his wife. That's it.
I can't. When people say them, that's when I was a kid. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, word.
Who's the most important person in the world? The president's wife. Okay. So yeah, pre-order officially June 3rd, delivery June 17th. There it is.
Spoiler alert, it's not a spoiler anymore.
Yeah. We have a release date. So I'm sure they're going to keep releasing articles and such. Oh, and then Forge World's putting out their books that also go, Index, Chaos, or Imperial Armor, Chaos, Imperial Armor, Astartes. Those will also go on pre-order the 3rd. Now, we may see a lot of stuff this weekend at Warhammer Fest. Don't know yet. I'm sure they'll have more details and stuff available exclusively there. I think the Thunderhawk, and there was some Blood Bowl stuff. So lots more coming out this weekend.
Hey, actually,
news-wise.
Robbie B, so sorry to interrupt you, but also big news. One of our favorite events being held by some of the best people in the world, ATC.
Yep.
Shane and Chris have decided that they put their email letters out, their feelers out after GW released that it is going to be that June 17th new Hammer 8th edition. And ATC is sticking with it. They're going with what they did last time, and it's going to be 8th.
Nice. I think that'll give folks 6 weeks.
Yeah, right at 5 weeks. Because I don't think the tournament's till the 15th.
You know what's awesome about that is that it also, in my opinion, it takes a lot of pressure off the event too. Anybody out there who's super hard in the paint, like how good are we gonna do? Oh, I want to make sure we win our games. I feel like going to any brand new 8th edition tournament, I'm gonna play what I have. I'm gonna see how shit works. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna be. Absolutely. It just seems like such a fun time to go to a tournament like the ATC, which is a 5v5 team tournament, which is a really intense vibe, but a real fun time with all your buddies, getting together, working in your beats labs with the models you have, showing up and playing this new edition. That cannot imagine a more fun time. This will never happen. This rarely happens, but here it is. So definitely you want to check out ATCs if you get an opportunity, guys.
Yeah, I think it's always a solid event, and being I guess technically the first out of the chute, even though we'll see some stuff that's designed to play well in a group kind of, hey, if I got this, I can take this army and you guys could, get your max scores. You're still going to give us some ideas of how 1v1 traditional 1v1 tournaments are going to play, I feel like. So either way, we'll be there definitely covering it. Which I think it's going to be a great time. A lot of cool stuff. I'm hoping we see more painted stuff for sure. I don't think they're enforcing a painted.
That is true, Robbie B. They lifted that
just because people are going to be 5 to 6 weeks or whatever to get their stuff straight.
Yep. They did say that there's some new trophies coming out, and then I also did see where this is a GW sanctioned event. They're backing it. And so that means it's going to be hell on the prize support, allegedly. It's going to be pretty stout this year. And, traditionally, it is always stout with prize support.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what the future has.
Yeah.
So if you see
only a couple months, right?
Well, June. Yeah, end of July.
Yeah, it's fucking right around the corner. It's going to get swifty.
A lot closer than it seems. But if you see people with Primaris and the new Death Guard all painted up and based, you may give them a hobby high five.
Which is the same thing as an actual high five.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like, wait, what is that?
Handies and hugs.
There's supposed to be that awkward moment where they both look at each other and go, now what?
I always have that moment. I'm white. my handshake high five game is weak.
I just fist bump. I find that works easier.
Usually I begin with a fist bump and then transition to the handshake and then back to the fist bump before I make contact with your hand. And it's always the wrong choice.
I go straight for just grabbing butt cheeks.
Handies and hugs always works.
I feel like there's no better way to get to know somebody than just, walking straight up in there.
Just grab it.
Just grab it. Show them where your mind's at from the get-go. Be like, all right, we're cool, right? We're good. You and me.
You guys ever have this happen to you? You're just sitting there, you meet somebody, you shake hands, man hug, cool. Anyway, great meeting you. And you turn to begin to walk away. But just as you begin to turn, he kind of starts raising his hand to wave at somebody, but you think he's coming in for another handshake and you kind of grab his hand awkwardly out of the air for another weird handshake.
Yes. Why do you have these problems?
This happens to me constantly.
Yes, I have not only have I had that happen once or twice, I have seen that happen to Kenny.
Oh yeah.
I'm the worst. Oh my God.
So on the Forge World side of things, I believe they sold out of all their Leviathan dreadnoughts, but that's something we should probably talk about after the break.
All right, before the break, let's talk about Twitch. We're trying to rehash the Hobby Pipe Dream segment. You guys remember that?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, we do.
Yep. So the Hobby Pipe Dream segment, we always did it into the show. We always try to figure out something. We did it like only a handful of times. It just never fit. And so
I never had time to paint anything.
So we want to use the Hobby Pipe Dream name, the brand of the name. It's a cool name. And we want to apply it to this moment in the show where we talk about something that's interesting happening on the Twitch network, the Long War Network, which is obviously our live network on Twitch. You can find us on Facebook, which is definitely the best thing possible. The best resource tool in the world is Facebook right now. So definitely find us, the Long War Network, on Facebook so you can see our schedule. Having said that, we're also transitioning into the summer, meaning we're going to be rolling out with summer hours on some of these streams. Currently, right in the schedule as of right now, Fridays have changed. I'm not going to tell you a bunch of times because it's not going to mean anything to you if you haven't even gone to the Facebook page, but times have changed. We're going earlier across the board and eventually probably even happen on Tuesdays. So right now, Fridays are different. Check it out, guys, if you're used to watching the show. But that's a public service announcement. The Pipe Dream segment is in Jason's corner right now because some interesting things are being highlighted right now on our network.
Yeah, so we've had a plan going for a while to be able to kind of take what we do on the network as a whole and the things that we're doing, techniques we're going through, paints that we're using, models that we're seeing, and all that excitement that we generate on a day-to-day basis through the live community that we do on Twitch, and put that up for people to be able to get their own hands around, so that you're watching Kenny paint a model, you're watching me paint a model, you're watching Rob paint a model, and you really say, man, those reds really popped. I wish I could remember. I want to go back and watch the VOD, how he did that. So you go back, you grab that VOD. Twitch has the history of videos that it keeps for a while, so you can go back and watch, what happened last Thursday night on the stream, and you say, yeah, that's awesome. He used these paints I don't have, though. What do I have that's close? Well, now what we've got is we spend a lot of time over on the interwebs, and slowfusegaming.com, the site that we've been using as the community site for all of our work in progress uploads, all our community interactivity, is now a full-fledged store. So we humped and got that done over the last couple of weeks, really manhandled it over the weekend, and we'll be growing the product as we can. It's pretty light right now. We're paints, brushes, a bunch of good stuff, but we'll be growing it with new products. We got a lot of really exciting stuff coming out. But that's live at slowfusegaming.com. You can shop around. We will be adding in like custom sets of paints, where we do custom mix sets for a particular color that we've done. Maybe you've seen me do a non-metallic gold that you really liked. Now you'll be able to go to one place and say, hey, here's the non-metallic gold I used on this particular model. Here are the 4 or 5 colors that I use. Buy them as a bulk set, get a discount. Out the door, easy peasy. You don't have to go hunting around the internet to find, oh my God, where do I get this kind of paint and that kind of paint and this kind of paint? So, the goal is really to just make it easier to find everything that we use on the network, all the tools and tips and tricks and hacks that we do, and provide a place where people can come and get it. It's exciting.
Veterans, I've got news for you. Get your best deals online at dicehead.com. Long War Vets, call or email for your best vet deals. That's dicehead.com.
Dear veterans, quickly, make your way to thelongwar.net and find out how to reap your hard-earned spoils of this long war. For our allies at secretweaponsminiatures.com have rewarded us all with an extra 10% discount on all Secret Weapon Miniatures merchandise. So stock up, dear veterans, and enjoy.
ElrixHobbies.com is your exclusive portal to upgrading your hobby. When you sign up at thelongwar.net, you gain an instant promotional discount good for 10% off at Elric's Hobbies. ElrixHobbies.com. And we're back. Rob, boat on legs.
How did you know that I like to talk about Forge World? Who told you?
I watched every episode of Law & Order myself, and thus I'm a detective. And I have been able to glean this from just observing.
Deduce is the word.
Deduce. That's that. I mean, an amateur might say that, but I am a detective, so we like the word gleam. It's more you wouldn't know.
You should really think about taking the lieutenant's exam. You could really go places, dude.
I know I could ace that easy. I mean, if Law and Order, which nothing I've seen on TV ever has not been accurate. Literally.
It's literally the most realistic show on TV. Let's be honest.
Yep.
I feel if you walk into the test room with a box of Cinnabons and a 48-ounce Dr. Pepper,
you ace the test.
Ace that test. And juice in a box. We need juice in a box.
Why would you put juice in a box?
We're in this room taking this test, and of course, juice in a box. Like, why? What juice? This is not the answer to everything.
So it is, Jason. We now know what you have to do when you get off the air tonight. Is you have to add to the web cart in the store juice in a box.
Juice in a box. It's 6'4". It costs like $100. It costs like $189 to ship domestic. Forget about international shipping unless you just hit the lotto. But
actually, the product is free. You only have to pay for shipping.
You only have to pay for shipping.
And he's gonna be dressed all Buster. So no girls be looking at it.
Sweatpants and shitty t-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. Mustard stains.
Woo. All right. So Forge Roll dropped their very first data sheet today, preview, which we know, like I was saying in the Tabletop Market Watch, that there will be an Index Imperial Armor Chaos and Astartes coming out pre-order on the 3rd, and then I think they're putting out the Xenos and the couple different Xenos ones towards the end of the month. I think they are saying. But today we got our very, very first preview, and just like Haspel called it, if you look at the picture of the Hellforged Leviathan, it looks to be printed on the same shape, the same size that those data cards that you could buy, the pack of data cards from GW, for all the Age of Sigmar. It literally looks like one of those. So I'm almost 100% thinking, and it definitely fills up the whole page. So I think Haspel was spot on there, saying that maybe they were that size because 40K would literally take up that much space, which will be very...
I mean, I'm not surprised that Haspel was right. He wrote this shit, so I mean, makes sense.
It's like you knew. So that was really interesting to see. So Hellforged Leviathan, of course, that's the big super soda machine looking dreadnought, super duper dreadnought, the biggest one today. I guess the Custodies are getting one probably this weekend, actually. That's even bigger. But for now, this is the biggest one. So it is armed with a lot of cool stuff, but I don't want to talk about that yet. I want to talk about these stat lines here that kind of give us a glimpse into maybe some things to come. So the strength is 8, which is pretty much expected, I feel like. The toughness, though, is 8 with 14 wounds and a 2-up save. So what do you think about those stats compared to some other stuff, Kenny?
So real quick, longwar.net, the home of the battle reports. What we've been doing the last couple of weeks is trying to sneak in our AOS games, and that doesn't always work because we have to line players up, right? So we have more 40K than AOS. So we've been doing is speculating, putting juice in the camera, rolling some stuff out, laying out some scenarios, and just, kind of freestyle, thought process in the Beats Lab about how some of these things might work. And let's do a mini play test, a very small, play test in a vacuum and see how it kind of works out. We just did one on Land Raiders. And the speculation that Juice went with was toughness 10, 3-up save, and 16 wounds?
Yeah, 16 wounds.
And just to say, hey, it's armor 14, 14, 14. If something's going to be toughness 10, it's going to be this. Because we didn't know, were they going to use armor save to reflect the armor? Were they going to use toughness? How are they going to scale it? We were thinking it was going to be one or the other. So the big news here on this Leviathan is it looks like it's both. They've scaled it. So we have toughness 8, which is a solid toughness. We have 2-up armor save, which is indicative of baller ass armor. So this means the big thing for us is the Land Raider, right? Land Raider is the shiz knight, right? It's the tank. How cool were armies back in the day that had units all doing cool things and a Land Raider with some beat stick element in it coming across the table just doing its thug life. That was the shit back in the day. So fun. awesome, great paint jobs, cool heraldry on Land Raiders. People love that tank. Well, it's sucked bad for a while. So we want it to be great. And so we speculate on it. This, in my opinion, guarantees the 2-up armor save on the Land Raider.
Yeah, guarantees it, all but guarantees it, right?
Yeah, like it's 99.9. I mean, it's if this thing, it seems that it's going to be a 2-up save. Reinforced ceramic armor, whatever the fluff piece in the data slate's going to be, it's going to have a 2-up save. Now, what is the toughness going to be? Do we think they're going to scale all the way up to toughness 10 on this thing, or we're going to keep it at toughness 8? We've got two pieces of armor that are both toughness 8 right now, right? They showed us the Night Titan and the Leviathan both have toughness 8, right?
Yeah, and you dropped a great knowledge bomb, Kenny, on why you think it might not be. So let me lay it down, and I'm going to start out with saying I think that it will be toughness 9 or 10. I think that they want to bring the presence back. I think that it's really going to be the centerpiece of any 40K Space Marine good guy list. Again, it might be 400 points, but I think they're going to bring all full circle back around the badass vehicle that we knew as the Land Raider. How do you feel about that?
I think they are going to bring the presence back. And I 100% agree with that statement. My point is that I think it is that presence with its stats right now. I think that with a 2-up save, with toughness 8, 16 or more hull points. And how many hull points does this Leviathan have?
It's got, it's got 14 wounds.
So wounds. I don't believe that the Land Raider now is going to be 16. They said in that sneak peek, Land Raiders, things like Land Raiders and Night Titans, don't be surprised that they have dozens of wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If the Leviathan's got 14, Land Raider is over 20. Like I'm using that statement they made. Night Titan has 24. This new thing that's a Dreadnought has 14. Ain't no Land Raider walking around with 2 more wounds than a Dreadnought. Like I think it's gonna be 18 plus 20. I literally think it's gonna have 20. I think it's gonna have 20 wounds. I think it's going to be toughness 8 because I think they're going to reserve toughness 10 for like Forge World stuff and maybe some like air fence and stuff like that or supremacy armor or whatever. Because here's my point. They do want to bring that presence back. And if you just math it out, if it has 20 wounds, it has a 2-up save and it has the toughness 8, it already is super intense. We broke the math down on melt-a-guns. Like melt-a-guns, you're like, oh yeah, literally 6 melt-a-guns will blow it up. First off, melt-a-guns are gonna have a hell of a time getting within 6 inches these days because they've already showed you like drop potting or quote unquote deep striking rules look like you have to be 9 inches away from people. So the ability to get within deadly range with a melt-a-gun and massing those melt-a-guns up is going to be tricky. And even if you did at toughness 8, melt-a-guns need a 4 to interact because they don't have 2 dice pick, penetration anymore. It's 2 dice pick the highest for damage in half range. It's already like we said something like 6 melt-a-guns are barely gonna scratch this armor.
Yeah, it's going to break through to get to like that 12 on average again. Now, that's not the random one-off, couple 6s or whatever. But, Kitty, you make a great point. If they want to keep continuity within the game and weapons and stuff like that, a multi-melta, a guy, if he does get within range, right? Like if that Land Raider is toughness 9, toughness 10, you're saying, a multi-melta needing, and again, it doesn't, even if it's toughness 10, it really doesn't make a shit too much. Because remember, guys, you only need 6s to wound when when the toughness value is doubled compared to your strength. So it doesn't matter if it's 9 or 10, the melta or multi-melta is going to need 5s to wound. I do not see a multi-melta as portrayed in the video and stuff. Like now that you think about it and you put it out there, Kenny, I don't see that Joker spraying his melta, whatever it does, microwave, lava, whatever the case may be. I don't see it. And it's built to shoot through plasteel. It is made to damage vehicles, and it needs a 5.
Yeah, you're just like holding it, like you're just like just shooting it right at this Land Raider from 6 inches away, and it's like, God damn it, I can't do anything. I don't see that. I don't see that. I think a 4 is going to be is already asking a lot from a Melta when compared to previous editions where it was almost a guaranteed pen.
Yeah.
So I just don't see them making that decision now.
Or at least it was a 50-50, right? So strength 8 on 2d6.
You only need a 6 to pen. So
a 6 to glance, yeah. So
or 6 to glance, yeah, 7.
Yeah, so a 7 to pen, and that's the right on the cusp with the 50-50, 7 and 8. So there's no way that they take those odds, and that would be like saying you needed
it's the same math.
9 to glance.
It's almost like GW thought about this, right?
Yeah,
we talked about this multiple times. So you're right. A 7 to pen is the 50-50. A 4 to wound is the 50-50.
Yeah, they're not going to take the tank killing weapon in the game, But if they do, I'm going to here to tell you, I'm still okay with it because guess what we've shown is that, or GW has shown to us that stuff is going to get better, stuff that maybe you haven't seen. This last cannon is unreal. We've actually been talking about it for a week now. That the last cannon is coming back. The last cannon is going to be the heat. So that is going to play Space Marine players have all but forgot about the fucking last cannon. It has been all but gone to them.
They keep talking about it in all the previews. They keep saying last cannon, dropping those hints. Like they're trying to tell people.
When Jason would love that because when Jason used to play, that was the day of people bringing all the things and having success.
Oh yeah, it was not uncommon to put that heavy weapon and stick that, the las cannon in a squad.
Jason. If you'll answer me this, back in the day, did you not say, "Hey, I'm gonna build my list. I don't care where they come from, but I really like to have 2 or 3 flamers. I need to have 6 las cannons, or missile launcher range weapons. I need to have, like a little bit of everything, right?"
Yeah, I've always taken the missile launcher if you could, and the las cannon upgrade, and it felt like you had more options, right? Because everything at least had a purpose. That purpose might be corner case, but you brought one, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas now I feel like I look at it, and as little as I look at the rules, admittedly, it just feels like so many things, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, are just off the table. And 8 seems giving us those back, which I get excited about. I'm like, holy hell, dust off the models. This might actually happen.
Yeah, stuff is off the table because, if you're a Space Marine player, you're going to put guys in a drop pod and they're coming out with melta guns or grab guns. That's it. There's no variant, right? If you're an Eldar player, there's a little variant, but the difference is, do you like scatter lasers or do you like multi-lasers? Do you like a Squatch or 8th Knight, or do you like sword and board? If you're a NID player, there isn't an option. You just play Flyrants. So what I really am loving about the sneak peeks that they've been giving us is, in my opinion, I think a las cannon can be, there's so many more places where las cannon is better than a melta gun now, multi-melta now. I think the Swarmlord, as we're going to talk in a little bit, is better than Flyrants now because of some of his special abilities. It is putting variety back in the game.
We talked about it. Like Rob's Iron Warriors, these armies were successful back in the day. You could play an army that had 2 or 3 Devastator squads in it, or maybe 1 Devastator squad and 2 Predators, or maybe 2 Predators and 1 Vindicator and a Land Raider as a dedicated transport to your command squad. You had these Space Marine armies that had 3 pieces of heavy armor, 1 piece of super heavy armor, and a bunch of pieces of light armor. And some of them had Razorbacks, and some of them were, it literally had all these weapons that did different things. And they worked back in the day. Mm-hmm. And you had a break point. You were saying, I want at least 8 las cannons if some are twin linked, or 10 if not. You were saying, I wanted this many shots from this range, this many from this. You had kind of a break point in your mind of just saying, I know I can deal with threats, and I can just decide how to deal with those threats as they come, versus 40K right now, which is all in the Beats Lab, all in Army Builder, all before the game, all in your head. And then outside of a few ridiculous die rolls or insane mission structure, the decisions of these games have almost always been decided beforehand.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's more like net decking now, right?
Yeah, well, 7th, is very much like net decking, to borrow the Magic term there. But, I think now, especially when we've seen the previews, like, we just talked about the breakdown there with the toughness and the wounds. Now, the Hellforged Leviathan has that sliding scale depending on how much damage it takes. So its first bracket, it's going to still have 8-inch movement. It hits on 2s, wounds on 2s. Until it takes 6 wounds, this thing is going to be operational. So keep that in mind too. Like, this thing is a beast. Now, there is one weapon system on here I want to talk about that I think it's kind of spicy, and we had an interesting reaction to it when we first talked about it on the webcast here. So it's called the Grav Flux Bombard. Of course, bombard being indirect fire of some sort of barrage. It's 18-inch range. Its type is heavy D3. It's a strength 9 weapon with -5 AP that does 2 damage.
First off, a couple things. -5 rend is amazing. So now we see stuff like pluses to cover are going to come into effect. Like, this weapon is built and bred. It almost has ignore cover special ability on top of high AP, because that's only what -5 is really going to come into play. Yeah. Second thing that I have to say at this point in time, and then I'll let Robbie B keep saying, worst name in the history of ever for something. Like, for the love of God, let's hope that GW doesn't keep these names coming, because
the flux capacitor bombardment.
Yeah.
How about the soul burner Rabudikin?
Yeah.
Rabudikin? I don't even know how to say it.
That's an ancient weapon term.
Next thing we know, we're going to get the polydodecadahedron assault cannon, and that's what an assault cannon is going to be like. Shit.
So the rules that Rob just stated, they're cool. Like what you said. You said D3 shots, -5 rend, and 2 damage each. Okay, that's cool.
Seems okay. Got it.
All right. Word. I'm not sold on it. Like, what else?
So if the target model has any of the monster, vehicle, or titanic keywords, then the amount of damage suffered becomes 5 per hit.
What'd you say? I feel like that's a good. I feel like that's a good roll.
D3 shots, damage 5 per hit if it has those 3 keywords. For every 5 models in the target unit, add D3 to the number of attacks made by this weapon.
Wow. So that's a big thing. So not only GW, solid golf clad, because not only did you make this weapon to be able to slaughter and really take chunks out of armor and monstrous creatures, you also said, hey, heard this thing's going to be pretty good up against a squad of 30 orc boys.
Like these said, it's flexible.
No, it's flexible. That's against 30 orc boys. Put that in perspective. That is 6 D3. Yeah, I mean, are you kidding me? Like,
that's chunks.
That's quality.
Which also might give us it also might give us insight into how just barrage is going to work.
Yeah, the -5.
Remember, we talked about barrage does worse the fewer models you have in the unit in current game terms because of the small blast template. So this is a great mechanic. Might just be how barrage works. They might just have this add a D3 for every 5 models in the unit. That just might be a thing.
But
the thing about this specifically, obviously, was the 5 damage. You just straight upgrade it from 2 to 5 damage if you're shooting a vehicle or a monstrous creature.
You weren't polite. You didn't say +1 or even double. You went double plus. I mean, that's awesome.
And this might be another little teaser in and of itself. Now, Grav works differently in 30K, I will concede. However, the basic principle is the same. It takes armor that's heavier and gravity, kind of reverse gravities it on itself and kind of like implodes it, makes it more dense than it is. And then that's how it technically suffers damage through a false gravity field or whatever. But so this may be also a preview of how grav guns could work even. Like, hey, you can shoot this grav gun thing at a squad and it'll be okay stats. It might not even be this neg cover. This might be more for, stuff like barrage that we were saying. But against these type of models, that are going to be dense, heavy armor, it does this. You know what I mean? Don't know, but it's just, I'm just throwing it out there. Like maybe it does an auto 3 or something.
This weapon is 100 times better than a melta-gun.
Yes. Because it does this from 18 inches away on something with an 8-inch move.
Yeah.
And it gets you, it just scores the 5 hit and the 5 damage and -5 rend, which, like we said, if cover's +1 to the save, this is ignore cover.
And it's a great weapon platform. Seems pretty resilient.
I mean, yeah, dog, literally, we put it in perspective. It like, if it's, you're just saying averages, right? Because it's a D3. So you're just saying 2. It also hits on a 2. So you're saying any day of the week, it's probably doing 5 to 10 hull points every time it looks at something.
Yeah, pretty much easy, because it's going to need your 2 on your D3. Again, law of averages is 2. You're going to hit with 2 dice, hit on 2s, and then it's strength 9. Yeah. So we haven't seen exactly wounds on 3s. We haven't seen anything toughness 9 or 10 yet to make it 4 or 5s. We're just saying it on 3s. So on 3s, it's going straight through unless you have a catalyst or some form of feel no pain potentially.
And the way the math shakes out, because wounding on 3s says, you fail a third of those. And then D3 says you average 2. The math is really close to you pretty much always do 10 wounds. Like when you shoot at a vehicle, like as the law of average. So like it's if you put this on the table and that's like your strategy, and that's what I love about these new ways of doing damage, you can really just think about your averages and know you're going to be much closer to them in this game. I mean, saying that every time this guy looks at something, it remove 10 hull points from it. That is incredibly flexible.
That is huge. Also, Kenny, what I love about that is we talk about law averages and we talk about how GW basically introduced the D6, D3 wound application. So where it's going to be a little more even kill instead of all or nothing. This guy is the exception. He is literally, if it goes through, it's 5. That is, I can actually hope that if you roll see a lot of this.
If you roll regular shitty, you did 5 hull points. If you roll super shitty, you did 0, right? So you rolled really, 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 really bad, 0. You rolled below math, 5. You rolled math, probably 10. You roll above math, 15.
Yeah, I mean, so, and again, like, melta guns aren't doing that. Multi-meltas really aren't doing that. You have to roll, trip 6s, to get to the.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is there's no variance. Above math, 15, not 11, not 12, not 13 or 14. Straight up, 15. You roll it. Yeah. You roll slightly above math, 15. You roll slightly. It's huge.
Yeah, let's put this in perspective. That is literally Swarmlord dead. 12 wounds. That is tragic. So I will say this. I hope that I hope that this is one of the few, and I'm okay with that the NIDs don't have it. I want the good guys or the bad guys of the universe, the Space Marines to have some powerful shit, because like I've always said this. They do well against armies that NIDs don't like to face, and NIDs do well against Space Marines. So I want the Space Marines to be good. But I hope that every army out there doesn't just get some ranged something that is just going to snap off 10 or 15 almost guaranteed wounds to monsters, creatures, and tanks.
And to add to that, historically, GW has made some mistakes with force organization, and they have put things in that allowed you to take multiple units in every edition of things. That, like, for a long time, right? If you tell somebody they can have 2 of these or 3, expect to see 2 or 3 of these.
Yeah, fill in the blank. How many of these can I have? I can only have 1. Well, guess what? Every Space Marine list will have, which is fine. Like, that is, the Space Marines need that again. Like, so anybody who's sitting in their car driving or in their beats lab painting, like, don't think that we're hating on Space Marines. Like, I want them to be powerful. But, if, just like Kenny said, if you give the Force Org slots to have 6, people will take 6, because this guy is that powerful with this weapon.
Yeah, and we don't know how that. I think there was a power value of 6. I want to say off the top of my head. I printed it out horizontal, so I can't see it, but I'm sure by now everybody's already checked it out. So yeah, it's hard to say how many people will take, but I guarantee you, Forge will sold a bunch today. That's for certain.
For the Leviathan Dreadnought was power 16.
Power 16. Okay, excuse me. I blame the internet.
Yo, that's crazy too when you think about it. Like, so Night Titan double battle cannons, right? Shoots his battle cannons all over this guy, right? We talked about it. It was strength 8, all that cool stuff. And he's a beast. The Night Titan is a beast, right? Yeah, he can hurt this Leviathan, right? He can hurt this Leviathan good. But the Leviathan is, if you're within 26 inches of Leviathan, the Leviathan might just straight up put 15 hull points on a Night Titan. If you have 2, that's a potential of 30 hull points.
Yeah, that's he picks one.
But think about this: 2 hitting those averages, probably 20 hull points, 20 wounds.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Like, I mean, you can just say I'm probably going to do 20 wounds with 2 of these to a Night Titan in one turn. I mean, it's crazy good, man.
Yo, and what have we been saying?
You could literally just start erasing things off the table as you move. Like each turn, just be like, I'm going to take that this turn. I'm going to go over there and take that next turn.
Yeah, and if it's going to be something, for the love of God, could anybody, in the world, not even just on this panel right now, could anybody argue that it should be the fucking dreadnought, Space Marine dreadnought that has come back to bring terror upon everybody else? Like,
how many
we've
points?
Been wanting fucking dreadnoughts.
Yeah, I mean, we've been asking for, but how many points is it in 7th and right now, Rob? Like before this edition,
I think it's 85 points.
No, it's definitely points.
Buy a squad of Centurions, get him free.
Yep, this isn't Necrons back in the day.
I'm not sure it had 40k rules, to be honest.
I mean, if it's like, I mean, obviously, if a knight, I mean, whatever it is, it's got to be substantial point of estimate. That's what's going to keep it not super intense, like super over the top, is giving it the appropriate points. Because now that we're,
what is the appropriate points, Kenny?
Well, now that it's hard to say, because now we're in a system.
It did have points.
What was the points?
Go ahead and guess.
400 points.
Less.
350.
Less than a Night Titan.
300.
260.
Yeah, you're close. 285.
But 260, but it didn't have this weapon.
It had that weapon, but it didn't do that.
So what I'm saying is, so remember, armor sucked before. Okay, now that everything is toughness, there's going to have to be an overhaul of points. Straight up. So I mean, things like this, man, it's hard to tell. They're saying we're going to 2,000 points, which already indicates that things cost more points.
Mm-hmm.
Like that already indicates things are more expensive. So
yeah. I can definitely see this guy being 300, 350 points, 250 points. I think he's worth it.
In a game where everything's going to be toughness, I wouldn't be surprised if things like him were 400 points. Because everything is just, I mean, I think you were right about Land Raiders. I think Land Raiders are not going to be 250 anymore. I think Land Raiders are going to the 400 point range. That, I mean, I think it just lines up with 7th edition or 8th edition.
Yeah, with their stats, how badass they are with everything else. Absolutely, I'm with it. But let's not get it twisted. I'm taking this 350 point dreadnought.
Oh yeah,
I'm taking it. Like it's not stopping me.
It's incredible. I mean, it's if you
like please
think about this as a commander. If you were the captain of some unit or whatever of your chapter of Space Marines or the chapter master Juice, and I come to you and I say, Juice, we got this thing. We got to go do it. We got to go kill some things on this planet. Bring one Thunderhawk gunship, load it down with anything you want from the armory. This is what I'm telling you to do as the captain. And you're like, word, got it. And then I go to the Thunderhawk, and every single one of the Leviathans that we have in our sacred armory is in the And I'm like, damn, Juice, you're a goddamn fucking genius.
That's
fucking IQ of a goddamn
IQ of 160. You're exactly right.
You're a tactical Tyrannosaurus.
Yes.
Like that would be how it goes down.
I would respond to that by yes. You can refer to me as CMJ.
Lord Commander.
Yes.
Juice.
Well, speaking of Tyrannosauruses, I think there's a another kid on the block we need to talk about today, and that's Swarmy McSwarmerton.
Phew, man. Guys, I've been holding this inside. So the NIDS, it's like 8th edition was specifically made for me. For me and me alone. Even down to the rule book cover that they chose, is literally from my favorite edition. That is the 4th edition rulebook cover that has been obviously changed with some new cool shit on it or whatever else. But, all around. And they are showing the NIDS so much love right now. And I hope all the other armies out there that everybody else's favorite lists and armies get the same love and get the same feeling that I have. So I just want to start out by saying Swarmlord is an absolute juggernaut, exactly like he should. Robbie B, will you give us the stat line so we can kind of have a little dialogue about it?
Yeah, so this is everything that, for the most part, besides his ability, that has been teased from GW. So he has a toughness value of 6, 12 wounds, 3 up armor save, has a 5 up invulnerable save, which is increased to 4 up in melee. And he has the built-in ability, I guess he just gets Catalyst. And Catalyst is now a 5 up save versus wounds suffered, which, like I was saying in the webcast, we know from the Nurgle preview that came out that once you take damage, then you can roll this save after you suffer it. So it's a little bit different from Age of Sigmar, apparently. His movement's 9, strength 8, 7 attacks at his 7 to 12 wound slot. So he does have that sliding scale. The more damage he takes, the air quotes less effective he becomes. His weapons are AP3 D6 damage.
Yeah, for the love of God. Where do I start from how good he is compared to what he was? So he's base strength 8. Are you kidding me? Let me tell you what Swarmlord couldn't do before. He couldn't engage anything toughness 7 or higher or
Wasn't
armor
he strength 6 or something?
Strength 6, absolutely.
Yeah.
Strength 6, 5 wounds, okay, 4 base attacks. So I just want to point out a couple things. A hurt, beat up, wounded ass 8th edition Swarmlord. The baseline, he's only got 1 to 3 wounds left. He is still better than a full up Swarmlord of 7th edition past. Also, I want to talk about how his toughness 6, right? Some people are like, oh, he's still only toughness 6. Let me tell you how I don't give a shit about that. Because now with the new wound scale, it doesn't matter that he's toughness 3 or toughness 6. You still need 3s to wound him if you're higher than that. Who cares? You're never going to get to a 2. Where before, strength 8 would wound him on a 2. So now that same power fist is less effective. And my base number of attacks is almost doubled. And I hit on 2s in combat instead of 3s with no ability back in the day truly to be able to manipulate my to hit roll. Also, I have a 5 up invulnerable save just for free all the time. And then it goes to a 4 up, which was his parry a blade save, which that's how he got it before. I don't know the verbiage now to how they justify his better save in close combat, but
I don't think they've it.
Also for free, I get Catalyst. So he was a level 3 psyker before. I rolled all 3 dice and I had a 50% chance. Some people could say it's maybe like a 62% because you get to rerolls of psychic abilities, but there's no guarantee that it was going off. We now know that it is, he gets it, he comes with it, and allegedly, if it's like Age of Sigmar, psychic abilities are going to go off easier. That's just a fact. It's just a fact. It's if you can cast something, you can do it with little recourse from what your opponent can do. So he's going to look like a 5 up invulnerable with a feel no pain, a catalyst save. I can't be any more excited. There's nothing, Robbie B, that you could tell me that would make me any more excited.
Not anything. Not even impossible. The fact that he can pick a unit each shooting phase and they can get a free move.
Robbie B, you sound ridiculous right now.
You need to
you sound ridiculous right now. Did you just tell me that is that the Hive Commander special ability?
Tactical Master Hive Commander. or something.
So Hive Commander is allowing him in last edition and editions previous that allowed a unit to be brought in faster from reserve. He gave him a +1 to reserve rolls. So you're telling me now he is an actual he was a master baiter. Now he's an actual tactical master.
Yes.
Because, so let's just put something together. A Trigon from Subterranean Assault pops up. Because of the Subterranean Assault, I get to pick that in any movement phase. Now my squad of maxed out Gene Stealers pops up within 9 inches, more than 9 inches away from an enemy unit. Now Swarmy, because he's on the board, says, oh, Gene Stealers, don't worry about that 9 inches. You go ahead and move your 6, I think they move 8 inches plus a D6. I can't remember on that. Don't quote me, but go ahead and move your full distance and then assault on turn 1.
Mm-hmm. Seems good.
I heard turn 1 assaults are a
which
thing.
is what we need. We need reliable.
We need it.
We need reliable turn 1 assaults. And a lot of people who cringed over that in the past, it's like, you get to shoot 99% of your army at me on turn 1, and I have to like get to you in turn 4 and mess
and
with
then,
you.
yeah, not only you get to do that on turn 1, then furthermore, you get to shoot it all over again at me again on turn 2. Oh, and we just highlighted, before I started talking about how hyped I am about Swarmy, we just highlighted how Space Marines have a fucking vehicle that will murk Swarmlord almost at one glance.
Like basic math puts Swarmlord in his bottom tier wounds first turn. First turn. Like puts him on his last, like he gets to do that commander trait like one time. Yeah. Like one time.
I mean, that is so clutch though, guys. Like, I mean, I am so hyped, like, because I mean, Robbie B and with this new Space Marine Dreadnought, and last cannons and everything else, I'm like, man, I've got to get faster. The NIDs just have to get faster. Okay. And now all of a sudden, Swarmlord is 9 wounds. If I go first, I can use the Hive Commander special ability on myself.
And something I mentioned was I wasn't sure that combo would work, but you told me it was specifically outlined that this is in the examples for the.
This is specifically outlined. Reese did in the article, and they did play testing. He literally showcased on how they utilize this tactic before. And literally my mind is being blown. Like Swarmlord being able to move 18 inches on turn 1 and then roll a 2d6 charge. I feel
what
like
about the
Subterranean Assault? Yes, the Subterranean Assault.
They highlighted that.
It highlighted that, and then it furthermore showed he went to dive in on how many attacks that would be with the Gene Stealer squad. That's 80 attacks to a maxed out squad that, because if I'm not mistaken, if there's more than 20 or something, they get the extra +1 attack.
Yeah, they get a bonus.
They get a.
They get a hit bonus from the Broodlord, but yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But so a tricked out squad, everything else is hitting on 2s, and that's 80 attacks on turn 1.
So that means you delete something, which is what all these goddamn guns are doing.
And then guess what's going to happen? Let's just put it in perspective. Guess what happens to that Gene Stealer squad next? Every fucking bolter,
it gets got
around with the last cannon or last guns, everything else, first rank.
Every bolter gets to shoot at it, and then last cannons get to shoot at a tank.
And it's done.
Swarmlord. Sorry. Every bolter in every squad of Space Marines on Earth gets to shoot the Gene Stealers while the last cannon shoots at the Trigon.
Yeah. I mean, it's
because they get to split fire indefinitely.
So the verbiage is not only delivering the Trigon into the heart of the enemy force, but also accompanying a unit of Tyranids, and there's nothing stopping them from charging this turn either. So there you go.
Right, so, but the point is the fleet commander, Hive commander ability able to be put on that unit to move again, even though they technically haven't done a move. They did the Subterranean Assault.
At the end of any of your movement phases, set up the Trigon anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away. So it's the end. So they might not be able to bust dudes out of there, but they're going to be.
But that's what I was asking Juice was like this tactic of.
No, yeah, he showcased this tactic in
showcased this in their play
scenarios.
So there must be something we don't understand about how the movement phase works, because it says at the end of your movement phase. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you could still move if it's the end of your movement phase. I don't know.
You're still in the movement phase.
Sure.
Like
that's you're still in the movement. Yeah.
I've literally always argued that, like through editions. I was like, they're like, yeah, but I was like, no, it didn't say after the movement phase.
Yeah, you're still in the movement phase. So
yes. Swarmlord's ability says you get to move in extra movement.
Mm-hmm.
Sure and then this comes up in the movement phase. So like you literally, I mean, it's. And
so
then,
unless his movement said, unless Swarmlord said at the top of the movement phase move, and you can still move in your phase as normal, then that would bypass it because these guys don't get to do their thing until the end of the movement phase. But it doesn't say that. It says in the movement phase. So that means you get to pick at what point in movement phase. You get to say, and historically in GW in 40K, when you get to pick, you get to pick. And if two things happen at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry. And it's so, thank you, Brian. Hive Commander happens in the shooting phase.
Yep. It's during the shooting phase.
So it doesn't, it literally, not even in question.
Not even a thing. So it's like, so it is clearly written. So expect this. This is going to be the first Wombo combo of Tyranids that we are aware of. Yeah. And is there a range? Is there like a limit to this Hive Commander ability?
I'm sure that there has to be. So again, last edition or in 7th edition that we're in currently, I keep saying last, but Swarmlord also gave an ability to a unit. It wasn't called Hive Commander. It was called something else, but he could give a unit within 12 inches or 18, I can't remember, but within X amount of inches, Furious Charge, Preferred Enemy, or something else. So maybe I could definitely see it being within 12 or 18 inches.
There was no range on it. It just said you could do it. It's also an ability he can just pick. So maybe he'll have access to other abilities. His ability that I found to be most useful is Hive Commander, which allows the friendly unit to move in the shooting phase.
So also that was in 6th edition. In the edition before, you had to buy Hive Commander, 30 points or something else like that.
So it is interesting because it has been brought up in chat that in that same movement article, it said, if you bring up a unit using this, a unit from reserves, units are set up this way, cannot move or advance further. But I'm saying, but you're not bringing a unit in from reserves when you're doing the Trigon. You're bringing it in from subterranean assault. It's not a reserve action.
Right. You set it up. It's specifically worded. You set it up in the movement phase.
Set it up in the movement phase. It's not a reserve attack. That's where some confusion might lay.
Also,
not reserves.
Yeah. Also, I would like to say it says from reserve that you can't move further. Like that's in the movement phase. You could still run.
It actually says advance. It says you cannot move or advance further.
Advance is running.
It's so, but like I said, that's reserves. This is not reserves. Subterranean assault is literally
because universal special rules don't exist anymore. Remember how Kenny? It's almost like
you have to literally have reserves in your shit in your data slate.
Yeah, I think that was a specific rule that's conferred. Not everybody can just be like, oh, I'm going to keep this in reserve.
Yeah, so it's exactly why we said about Catalyst and Feel No Pain. I think we said it off air. It's like, they are giving the flexibility so they don't have to say in 7th edition, oh, this is Feel No Pain with this special rule. Oh, this is Feel No Pain with that special rule, depending on if you're Nurgle or Nids or whatever. Now they're just saying, fuck saying Feel No Pain. This is Catalyst. Catalyst gives you a 5-up word save or whatever the verbiage is. This is, subterranean assault. You arrive at this time. It sounds a whole lot like, coming out of reserve, but it's not.
Correct. Because like I said, there's no universal special rules. You have to have it in your, like everything's going to have their own unique wording to explain similar or things, but with their own flavor. It seems to be a superior system as the way things are going. Every other new game pretty much has that. They have a card with what this unit can do, and this unit can do things that are a little bit different than this unit. So it looks pretty good on paper. This is a great little combo out the gate. But like I said, it looks OP. A lot of people are like, oh, this Leviathan looks scary. This subterranean assault first turn charge looks scary. Yeah, for sure. But these are like 3 things. They're highlighting very clearly things that are crowd pleasers. GW knows Dreadnoughts are crowd pleasers. They know Tyranids are crowd pleasers. Tyranids have been shit on so bad. Don't be surprised if orcs they start talking about orcs here in the next couple of days.
Oh, I can't wait for it. Wah is going to get. I can't wait to see if Swarmlord is looking like this. Fucking Gazgul, the motherfucking Thraka, is going to be the shit.
Yep. No, I think we still have, even with the date spoiled and, all this cool stuff on the horizon, just, weeks away, there's still a lot more that they can put out that we're going to be very attentive to, because we haven't seen a lot of faction focuses, or obviously orcs is one of them. So I think that'll be really cool to see. I think that's a highly anticipated one for sure. Custodes, me personally, Necrons even seem to be eagerly anticipated. So there is still a lot more information out there to get revealed and to get dissected, at least these little snippets that, you know, we grab onto, but it's not really worth getting into a big rules debate about, I feel like, at this point, because we don't have the whole picture. We can't be like, yo, go to BRB page, whatever, because we don't have that, you know. So let's just fly casual here on this stuff and just kind of talk about the bigger picture stuff that we're seeing here. And I think we probably shouldn't end the podcast with at least saying that the changes in synapse, if you're not aware, nothing less than immunity to morale for friendly Tyranid units within range, which I think is going to be pretty good. Maybe.
No, come to find out, I even like how that sounds. Nothing less.
Nothing less. And
I feel like how many wounds do you have left? I have nothing less than 8. That's how I'm going to start answering.
Well, when your stuff gets picked up, whole models get picked up because you fail your morale. That's Dude, it is a thing. I play Skaven in Age of Sigmar, and let me tell you what I fucking can't stand. I wish I had some synapses going on there, some synapse abilities, because it is terrifying. My storm vermin die more to morale than to my opponent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, morale is a big thing. Fortunately, I'm kind of playing a little bit of a battle shock proof army myself. Fortunately, but
yeah. Hey, before we get out of here, Jason, you know, I got a question. With you being an old school 40K player and have played other different games, modeling games, and you've kind of seen it all through the years, what is the number one thing you're looking forward to potentially what 8th edition could bring?
I think I said it a couple of weeks back, is that bring back the narrative to the game that makes me feel compelled to stay there the whole time. You know, I mean, we keep hitting on it. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's exactly what we're talking about today, with the fact that if we make Tyranids fast, then that feels like Tyranids. It doesn't just feel like a different looking army on the table. It actually gives me a reason to play different armies, right? It's like, if I look at some of the editions that have come out in 40K, I feel like they've screwed the pooch many a time and made armies very homogenized. There was Eldar. I think Eldar have always kind of stood to the outside. I think Tau, to some extent, have always stood to the outside because they've always had that, you know, kind of no teeth, lots of shooting, you know, but you wanted to get into them. So I think each one has kind of had a flavor, but they tend to get bland. And I think what they could really focus on that would get people like myself interested in it again is make it to where there's a reason to pick up Tyranids, you know, because in the books, Tyranids are unrelenting freaking bajillions of pods coming down into the sky, overrunning a planet, and then biomassing it all again. It just gives you the feeling that each of these individual creatures is just a big part of the whole, has no personality, you know, forget Old One Eye and all that stuff, you know, but, you know, make it feel like that on the game table, right? Give me an army that I don't give a damn if I lose most of my squads every turn. Let me keep bringing them in. Let them keep putting the pressure on. Let it be something that a player across the table who has been used to net decking or whatever feels like, oh my God, what am I going to do to get out of this? That's the way games need to be. They need to be more of, when you get to that table, you shake hands with your opponent, you look at his army, and you don't go, oh, great, he brought Nids, this is going to be a cakewalk. You look at his army and you go, I wonder what he's going to do with that, and if I have the right answers. And it needs to be that no matter what they brought. And so as long as GW can kind of alter their whole mechanism for making armies and codexes and stuff, then, and it sounds like they're focused on it right now, and I'm hoping they've got some young blood in there that's enjoying playing the game, you know, the way that people in the real world play the game. And if they can get there, man, I think that we're going to see tons and tons of people drawn back into the game, people that have migrated away, and see people that have been on the fence. You know, as amazing as it may seem to be, I meet people all the time that are like, I've thought about getting into 40K. And I'm like, what? It's like the world's largest miniature game, right? Well, you guys got to tell me it's X-Wing now, but you get what I'm saying. You know, there's still people out there that they could there's new blood to be out there. I think that that GW needs to grab that low-hanging fruit by doing the right thing with the game, and it sounds like they're on the right pace.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Couldn't agree more. I think those are all good points, Jeez.
Absolutely. And you want to know what? I would like to finish by saying, we can be overcritical of rules, overcritical of point costs and of GW itself. And I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but let me tell you, this is one of the first times that I can admit that I think this is the most balanced sounding rule set that I've ever heard of. Because in my mind, I'm literally like, we can talk about a last cannon, and everybody's like, holy shit, that thing's so powerful. I have to take 1 billion of them. But then it's like, well, because they can only ever do 1 damage, not do the full D6 damage to hordes, that's gonna be an issue. And I can put down 150, 200 models. So I can tell you how that's going to be really good. I truly believe that they are working on one of the best sets of GW of a GW edition that we've seen.
I want to say, so I've been just like keeping up with chat because we do this live, guys. If you guys listen to this podcast, we do this live, we interact, we fact check as we go. I'm starting to feel like this whole combo we just talked about might not be possible. And here's my evidence why. It literally says in this commander, and I just have to say this here so it doesn't. So later when people call us on it, I'm presenting an alternate scenario. It may not be possible because it does say it allows a unit to advance in the shooting phase, is what the Hive commander ability does. Mm-hmm. And it does say tactical reserves for subterranean assault. And it does say under reserves, you can never advance or move beyond this. So like, if you put all those words together in one sentence, it does indicate that you might not be able to advance a unit in the shooting phase that's arrived by subterranean assault because tactical reserves.
Yeah. I mean, that might be. And then if that is true, then
we'd be remiss in our duties if we didn't also present that line.
No, sure, absolutely.
Thank you for the chat for sending me on a multiple website journey to read all these things myself.
Yeah, it just you know what? That's going to be my Damashrons for the love of God. We'll have all the rules. Forge World, in conjunction with Robbie B, because he is the guru. But they said that hopefully all rules for any of their stuff will be done by the end of June. So that means I'm looking for my Damashron and Swarmlord. Hopefully their movements are at least 9 or more, and I can just use that on them. I'd like to slingshot.
I would say it mostly doesn't matter because I think you're going to be pulling 36-inch charges all day.
Yeah, I think
all day.
The range is, the numbers look good there if you do the math on it for sure. People are already talking about it in chat, but just spitballing it, it's looking pretty solid. But yeah, I mean, again, like I said, we don't have the whole picture, so we could all be right. At this point, we're just, hey, we saw a picture in Spikey Bits Hobbies today. Hey, this is a rock. The title is, you guys will argue about anything, and there's a picture of a rock, and literally 8 hours later, I have 500 comments. That's just where we're at right now. There's always going to be something to said about everything. But thank you everybody that contributed to all the fact checking there.
I'm on this article right now. It's amazing.
Which article?
The Rock.
It's quite the spectacular meme. I was like, I saw that go up, and I was like, this isn't going to end well. And then I checked back in, and I was like, yep, that's about where I thought it was going. People like photoshopped it as a squig, pictures of the Rock, Dwayne Johnson holding a rock. They're like, no, this is the Rock holding a rock. It just, I wouldn't say escalated. I would say de-evolved from there. There was Orc Rocks too. Yep, there was definitely Orc Rocks too.
Crack Rocks?
Not yet, but you could be the first.
I'm not the first, I promise.
So I think that's it. I think we can do no more harm, but definitely more good from this point on. No, I'm just kidding. So that's it. 8th edition is coming. We will try to get the book in our hot little hands to go over with you guys as soon as humanly possible. And of course, there will be way more rules previews from Games Workshop coming up over the next couple of weeks as well. So we don't have Haspel here to take us out. So I guess it's just going to be me tonight. So make sure you head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and hopefully lots and lots of videos on 8th edition battle reports, tactics, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.